Hey guys, my name is Dice Rollin'. Today we're going to be taking a look at some facts you didn't know about the film that put Texas on the horror map. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was directed by Tobe Hooper. It tells the story of a group of friends who find themselves ensnared by a family of cannibals in the southern state. So without further ado, these are some things you didn't know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
My family's always been in me.
For the scoring of the film, no instruments were used. Instead, what we hear is essentially what an animal in a slaughterhouse would hear. At least some of the animal carcasses within the Sawyer house were real, and had been borrowed from a local veterinarian. For the scene where Pam is hanging from the meat hook, a nylon cord held her up between her legs. She used maxi pads to try to prevent pain from this. However, it was still quite uncomfortable for her. She used this discomfort in her performance, but could only do so for about a minute. Even though the title of the film makes it seem as though many people are slaughtered with a chainsaw, only one person is in fact killed this way, and that is Franklin. Due to having to run through the branches and such, Marilyn Burns suffered some cuts and scratches, which means that a good bit of the blood we see on her is real. During the scene where the old man is yelling at Leatherface over the destruction of the door, Hooper told Hansen what he needed to convey non-verbally, and Hansen had to figure out how to portray what the character was saying without actually saying it. The scene actually had to be reshot because, as Hooper said, there was too much intelligence in the character. There are three masks that Leatherface wears: the old lady, the pretty woman, and the killing mask. His reasons for wearing these masks was to take the place of a lack of his own personality. Each one represents who Leatherface is trying to be in that moment. During the scene when the hitchhiker and old man bring Sally home, Leatherface is wearing the old lady mask, indicating that he's trying to be domestic. During the dinner scene, he's wearing the pretty woman mask, because this is his way of dressing up for the occasion. And finally, during the scene in which he is chasing after the members of the group, Leatherface is wearing the killing mask, which speaks for itself. The underlying purpose behind this was because, as Hooper and Henkel stated, there is nothing under the mask, which is what makes him so frightening. Unlike what many people assume, the old man / cook is not the father of Leatherface and the hitchhiker. He's actually their older brother. The scene where Leatherface accidentally cuts his own leg with a chainsaw was the last shot to be filmed. It was achieved by having a bit of meat and a blood bag on a metal plate that was placed on top of Hansen's leg. Supposedly, the scream from Leatherface was genuine, as the friction of the chainsaw against the metal heated it up enough to burn the actor. Terry McMinn has stated that she very much believes that Pam escaped the freezer she was placed in and survived. For the infamous Leatherface dance scene during the climax, Hooper had told Hansen that he wanted a shot of him going absolutely insane, so Hansen improvised how Leatherface acted. However, because of the mask, he couldn't see the people around him very well, and frequently almost hit them. Hansen saw this as a form of payback on the director for the conditions he endured while filming. The concept for the movie came to Hooper while he was in the hardware section of a store full of Christmas shoppers. He was considering a way to get through the crowd and took notice of the chainsaws on display. Hansen originally did not want to take the part of Leatherface because of the brutal nature of the story. It was Marilyn Burns, who he was friends with, who convinced him. For his role as Leatherface, Gunnar Hansen shaved his beard. This was the first and last time that he did so. As payment for his narrating work in the intro of the film, John LeRoquette was given a marijuana joint. Also, he had once stated during an interview in 2008 that he'd never actually seen the movie. If you're one of the people that found Franklin to be quite annoying, you're not the only one. Gunnar Hansen had said that he really didn't like Paul A. Partain. However, years after filming the movie, Hansen met Partain again, and realized that Partain was a method actor. Even when they weren't shooting, he stayed in character. Hansen and Partain were good friends afterwards up until Partain's death. Due to the limited visibility of the mask he wore, Gunnar Hansen would often hit his head on door frames. One such instance of this was when he was carrying Terry McMinn, and ended up knocking himself out. Hooper had joked about this, saying that it made a great sound effect. Even though Gunnar Hansen wore lifted boots, he could still run faster than Marilyn Burns, so to allow her a bit of a lead ahead of him, he would come up with random actions to make it look less like he was hanging back. Gunnar Hansen developed the character of Leatherface under the supervision of Hooper. He went to a school for those who were mentally handicapped to research how Leatherface should act and speak. Hansen wanted to ensure that his portrayal of a mentally handicapped character was as inoffensive as possible. Most often, Hansen didn't meet or interact with his fellow actors until they first saw him in costume while filming scenes. Gunnar Hansen had only one shirt to wear for the duration of shooting. It was dyed so it couldn't be washed. That meant that for 4 weeks in over 100-degree weather, he had to wear this shirt. Near the end of the shoot, he would often sit alone during lunch as no one wanted to be near him due to the smell. On a somewhat similar note, Marilyn Burns' clothes were practically solid by the last day shooting, due to the fake blood. John Dugan refused to go through the makeup process for Grandpa again, so all scenes he was involved in had to be shot in one go. This took approximately 36 hours. Due to the extreme heat caused by the Texas summer and the lighting equipment, there were several instances of the cast dealing with sanity slippage. Edwin Neal has stated that it was an even more miserable experience than when he had served in the Vietnam War. The farmhouse used as the Sawyer home is still standing. Since the filming of the movie, it's been relocated to Kingsland, Texas, and serves as a restaurant. The Wee Slaughter gas station has also been repurposed as a restaurant, and a place to stay overnight. Edwin Neal has been thanked by Texas state troopers in the past, because his role caused people to avoid picking up hitchhikers. This caused an 18% drop in crime at the time. The original distribution company was Mafia Run. You heard me. Bryanston Distribution Company, owned by Louis Pereno, was just a front used to launder money, specifically the money that was made from Deep Throat. Because of this, the money that was received by the cast and crew from Texas Chainsaw Massacre was just enough to pay investors and each of the cast and crew $405. Once it was discovered what Pereno was actually doing, he was arrested. The crew also filed a suit against him, which earned them $25,000 each. Later on, New Line Cinema bought the rights to the film and paid off everyone involved. This movie is actually one of the least bloody of the horror genre. This is due to the fact that Hooper was aiming for a PG rating by making a majority of the horrific elements implied. However, this made it more terrifying to viewers and earned it an R rating. Texas Chainsaw Massacre held the title for the biggest grossing independent film for about 4 years, at which point Halloween took the spot. This is one of the films that inspired Ridley Scott to create Alien. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was banned in Britain and Finland and wasn't released for 25 years. It wasn't released in New Zealand or Australia until the early 80s. However, in Germany, the uncut version was banned all the way up until late 2011. Apparently, this is the film that caused Guillermo del Toro to become vegetarian. So those are some facts about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre you may not have known. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like to let me know. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below telling me what other horror movies you'd like to see me dig up some facts about. Also, don't forget to share this video to help the channel grow, and subscribe for more videos like this. See you later.